Hello, 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 everyone. This is Monday evening, Project True, and so whoever came here to who saw the promotional graphics. So it said Braxton Fleming. Uh, he is an entrepreneur in Philadelphia, I believe. Yeah, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I was going to have him today. He actually had to pull out at the last minute because he had a family emergency. So I will actually record a show with him at the later date because it's given that it's East Coast, and he's really busy, during the month of Pride because what he does, his business is to provide, essentially like things that sort of like carrying cases and things like, people can put like syringe and like testosterone like hormone containers and stuff like that. So yeah, his business is like super busy for the month of June. So but we are going to do pre-recorded show uh, sometime in this month. So yeah, but thank you so much for joining us. And actually I have my good friend Noah the stigma fighter here because I quickly had to change my plan. And since Noah has just been to the Pride in his area, what is it, like Thunder Valley? Is that the
Oh no,
name?
it was in Sacramento.
Yeah, it's essentially Sacramento, right? I mean, it has like a kind of fancy name on it, but yeah. So Sacramento, California. That's where he lives. So yeah, he's just been to the Pride this weekend, and we were sort of like text chatting about what his impression was. And given that I am actually organizing an alternative Pride this year in LA, I thought it would be kind of fun and also sort of important. It'll be good for me to hear what he thought of the Pride that he's just been, and for us to talk about our experience of Pride, over the years. So that's why he is here. Hi, Noah.
Hello again.
Yeah, I know again. How are you?
uh, Long day. Just a long day. It's Monday. What can I say?
Right, right. And yeah, actually, Noah's joining us from, well, sort of from his work, right? Because like you are still kind of at work, technically speaking.
Yes, but my work is pretty relaxing. I mean, we don't have very many clients, but that's Napa County for you.
Right, right,
So
right,
I have
right.
pretty cool coworkers, so I'm able to just kind of get away.
Great.
But yes, Pride. I'm actually wanted to say I am very disappointed in Pride this year, and I know I'm not the only one that's saying it.
Yeah. Okay, so before we dive in, yeah, I would love to talk about it. Let's just acknowledge everyone who is here. Hi, Dolores. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Karma. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, so Pride, yes. Yeah, I mean, especially like a lot of people that I know have been questioning, what Pride has become, right? um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So okay, let's just hear like frankly what what was your impression, like? Yeah.
Pride was very corporate, and it showed. It so showed. So actually 2019 in Sacramento, that was actually my very first Pride that I've ever been to. And I honestly was impressed by it. I mean, they had a dance area for everybody to have fun at. They even had like really giant fans with mist, to kind of keep everybody cool.
Mhm.
This year, however, there's no LGBTQ friendly kiosks. There's like maybe a couple of them, and then there was one kiosk that actually caught my eye.
Mhm.
It was a black woman who was running a nonprofit organization to help promote the idea that we need to stop trans people getting killed.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the only boot I honestly took seriously. The rest of the stuff, like I saw Bank of America, I saw Wells Fargo, I saw State Farm, I saw it all.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
just didn't feel very pride to me. It felt really corporate. And on top of that, it didn't help either when there was like a shitload of cops at Pride. So
Mm-hmm.
like the moment I arrived at Pride, there was a surveillance van downtown. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, why is there a surveillance van there? Like I've had
Mm-hmm.
people tell me that like, well, they're just there to protect you. And I was like, are you guys not familiar with why we don't like cops at Pride?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Hi Anna. Yeah, so yeah, so one of the themes or one of the huge issues that everyone's talking about these days is, you know, pride festivities frankly have been co-opted by corporations. It's very, very corporate heavy, and as we actually know, and I talked about in his show or in our show for Tran Collaborative last week, all these corporations who kind of pretend to well, who do support monetarily support the Pride festivities actually do donate money also to politicians and political groups that support anti-LGBTQIA plus legislation. So there's like huge hypocrisy and disconnect here, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that should be called out. It's kind of unfortunate that yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. I don't really want to necessarily criticize people who go to the Pride because I know that it's important for us, you know, because that's the day that maybe not so much in like cities like LA where
Mhm.
like sort of like there's the kind of natural acceptance, you know, for LGBTQ IA community, but maybe like in some areas of the country that's the day that you know people feel like okay we can own this city, you know, we are
Mhm.
out here and you know yeah we are proud, right? So I don't necessarily want to criticize people who go because you know yeah I mean that's a time of celebration, time for us to have fun. But then again I just want to bring awareness that okay these corporations who have booth at the Pride, who have their logos, who may be donating liquor or whatever, okay they're not our friends. Okay, they're not our friends. Yeah.
It's performative allyship. I mean, I called it when I saw it. Like, I mean, Pride Month. I mean, specific months. That's when performative allyship happens. This is the only time that we're gonna get talked about. I actually was reading a little stint on San Francisco Pride about why they involve corporations, and they claim they do it to spread visibility when it comes to LGBTQ issues. And it's like, yeah, like visibility is great. Like, we definitely should be talking about LGBTQ issues, but like, people don't seem to understand that we're only talked about only on 1 month, or if it serves as a political convenience.
Mm,
They
mm,
don't realize like these corporations are not our friends. Like, I actually did a thread today about HRC
I
because
see it. Yeah.
HRC is one of the main instigators. Like, they are the worst kind of performative allies out there. Like, they make it very known that trans issues specifically, like, they exist. Like, I mean, the intent always starts off as good, but
Mm,
then they don't actually really call out everything. They always want to use their movement to try to attack the opposition. They
mm-hmm.
demand on one thing, it's like, hey, we need to be visible, you need to hear us out, but they don't provide any type of effective of change.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and so HRC does this thing that what was that? Workplace Equity Pledge. I think
Mm-hmm.
the name is different, but the thing is like you know it's a pledge that corporations can take that they are you know especially specifically working towards workplace equality. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so actually there's a quite a lot of overlap with the corporations that support Pride, but then again, they donate money to politicians and political organizations who support LGBTQIA anti-LGBTQIA plus legislation. So um it's like they're being used. I mean, okay, whatever the intention of HLC is, definitely they're being used as a tool to what shall I say, like tool for performative allyship, because
Yeah.
because by taking a pledge, corporations can advertise themselves that yeah, we are LGBTQIA friendly, while they are really not, and unfortunately that happens all the time. I mean, that
Mhm.
doesn't make it okay though, but that happens all the time. Like so in the case of like abortion rights, reproductive rights, like corporations like Amazon, for instance, they include as a benefit to give money, some money to employees who want to have abortion, right? They have like abortion subsidy kind of thing. But then again, they do donate money to politicians, political groups that support reproductive rights, anti-abortion you know legislation. So yeah, but these things though, I mean, should be called out. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Like that even kind of goes back to what we were discussing about what true allyship is. Like you can't be an LGBTQ ally but yet accept donations from people who are supporting the opposite. Like you just can't. Allyship does not work that way. And I'm sorry, it is kind of a black or white issue. Like you're either with us or you're not with us.
yeah, yeah. So um, so here's the thing. This is like the conversation that we are having in LA. In terms of like creating an alternative pride for July 3rd, because so we don't want corporations, not at all, and so I guess the sort of the logic behind having a corporate sponsorship is, I mean, naturally, if you have a corporate sponsorship, you get a lot of money to do something very very festive, and something kind of extravagant. So if you don't
Mhm.
have that, yeah, I mean, your festivities is going to be sort of like very grassroots, very sort of handmade. But
Mhm.
I don't see anything wrong with that, because maybe it's just me. I stopped going to Pride like 10 plus years ago. Um yeah, because yeah, let's talk about that. Because okay, so in the beginning I was saying that Pride is great, because I remember going to my first Pride, even
Mhm.
though like when I was like identifying as straight back in college, like 95% of my friends were LGBTQ. So I did go to Pride with my friends. But I
Mhm.
mean, the first time I went to Pride as a member of LGBTQ plus community was back in Minneapolis, when I came out in year 2000,
Mhm.
with my child, actually. Yeah, when yeah, they were like 3 years old. So I pushed my child in a stroller and I joined the parade. That was great. So things like that. I have fond memories of Pride. So in the beginning, yeah, it was great, it was fresh. As I said, it was a time for celebrations, time to just be out there and show ourselves.
Mhm.
But go ahead.
I was about to say, I think people need to remember where the concept of pride came out in the begin with. I think
Right.
that's the problem. People have just forgotten about history and it's been replaced with greed. And honestly, it's disgusting. Like,
Mhm.
people got to remember, like, we have been through, as a whole community, we've been through a lot of bullshit that we should have never been through. And I mean, we're still to some degree experiencing that same bullshit, except it's
Mhm.
affecting the trans community. But it's just like we're celebrating a victory. Like lesbians, gays, bisexuals, like that's become an acceptance now. I mean, one can make an argument too, even with being trans, like that's become an acceptance, but it's under fire right now. Like we're getting almost, if not worse, the same treatment that the lesbian and the gay community have been dealing with too. But people,
Yeah.
I think what's important about the concept of pride is just like celebrating those victories and at least some of those oppressions. And that even though we are not going to always agree, we are still at it as a front. Like I remember, like back in the time, what was it in the '90s? Like we're here and we're queer, we're not going anywhere. What the fuck happened to that?
Right.
It's not there anymore. And honestly, that's kind of, and I literally felt that during Sacramento's Pride. That wasn't like, yeah, we're gonna go sit here and just celebrate. But I mean, to be fair as well, like the temperature out in Sacramento was just blazing hot. Like it was over. Like I only stayed for about an hour and a half, and I was like, I can't anymore.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, so L. Stephen Day, thank you so much. Yeah, we can create our own festiveness.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what we have to do, and that's what we aim to do in LA. And actually, okay, Steve, yeah, I almost forget all the time that you are in LA. Join the party if you're free, July 3rd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we are still accepting members of the committee. So, if you want to be a part of the committee, it's not exclusive. We invite everyone to be on the committee. So, even though I have to emphasize, it's absolutely LGBTQIA plus led, but we are, opening up the committee to everyone because we want to emphasize the issues that we deal with are actually, you know, it's a common, it's a unified issue for everyone. So actually, for instance, in LA, we are still working on like endorsement and sponsorship and stuff like that. But HCA Healthcare for All Los Angeles, they are sponsoring, they are endorsing. PANA Progressive Asian Network for Action, they are endorsing. Uh, Thai Community Development Center is endorsing. Trans Latina Coalition is endorsing. Yeah, so bunch of community organization. Actually, yeah, we want everyone there because, well, first of all, we would like to build a true allyship, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and yeah, so it's great that these people, these groups are actually raising their hands and wanting to be part of it, because I mean, frankly, they don't have to, but yeah, they actually, because we have like my co-organizer and I have really no name recognition. We are not big, but it's great that they are answering the call. So yeah, anyway, yeah, Steve, if you would like to be part of it, just hit me up, and you can be a part of our committee. So yeah.
That's essentially why I started Trans Collaborative because there's so much division that's out there in the world, but I mean nobody ever talks about the division that's within our own community as an LGBTQ as a whole. And the only way, and I will highly emphasize this, the only way that we're going to actually achieve any social justice is if we remind people of that unifying factor. If we don't
Yeah.
do to repair it, like we're just going to continue to be in the same cycle where we're talking about things that really shouldn't be talked about. Like, like going back to your point, like we need to call this shit out. Why? And my thing is, and what's disheartening to me is like, why is everybody okay with just accepting the bare minimum? We shouldn't. And honestly, I feel like if we can achieve some form of social justice, I mean, I definitely think that we can bring the meaning of pride back. It's just been so co-opted by greed, money. It's like it's the soul has been taken over in a sense. Like everybody's forgotten their principles, everybody's forgotten their morals, everybody's just forgotten their history. It's just now turned into this performative shit show where it's like a back and forth game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not okay.
Right. Right. So yeah. Okay. So I want to just point out one thing. Yeah. Well. Okay. So I don't really want to too much, focus too much on what I'm doing because that kind of, I don't know, looks bad. But however, since it's like on my mind a lot these days because we have like 3 weeks to go. So um, it was actually great to sort of use my community partner progressive asian network for action, who I've been with for years and years, as a sounding board yesterday because we had a meeting and I presented because I wanted their endorsement. And these people are like really dedicated hardcore community activists. So their thing always is, okay, so what's next for you, what is the objective of having this, so yeah, it's great to have an event. I've done so many events in the past, but yeah, if the event itself is the end goal, that doesn't actually, unfortunately mean much. It's what's important is like what you do beyond that, like what you can cultivate, what you can get from doing that. Um so that, again goes back to um allyship. And we talked about allyship involving action, right? Some kind of action. So I think, getting these organizations and activists, community organizers together, I guess, what we are trying to achieve is that, so especially trans community and LGBTQIA plus community, we don't know yet what the outcome of Supreme Court decision is over, Roe v. and Wade. It's gonna come down at some point this month, and that has ramifications over like what happens to LGBTQI plus rights too. So, um, getting these communities together and moving forward with some kind of unified front, and organized actions, that's probably the goal that we are going for. That should be the goal that we are going for.
Hmm. I always say actions speak louder than words. Like you can go and say all the stuff that you want, but if you're not really demonstrating any action, then I can't really take you seriously. Like I'll give you an example. TikTok.
Mm.
TikTok, those platforms, I call it the performative platform because I actually came across one of their tweets. It's like in celebration of Pride Month, we just want to share. I can't remember the exact tweet, but basically they were saying that they stood with the LGBTQ plus,
Mm.
and I basically called them out. It's like, no, you probably should delete that tweet because of the fact that you have not demonstrated any action when it comes to transphobes or homophobes attacking us. You silence us instead.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna say, like, okay, so the thing is, TikTok was, I think, the platinum sponsor, well, the biggest sponsor for the LA Pride this year. I mean,
Not,
ironically, yeah. So there you go. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and not to mention too, now that these corporate prides are coming out, like they're more vulnerable to attacks. Like I mean, I know yesterday I was on Twitter quite a bit. Like I was seeing all these people twisting pride around. Like you
Mm.
got like there's people on there saying we need to bring the asylums back and we need to put LGBTQ people back in the asylum. Like they went as
What?
far as like kids being abused by what's the word, quote unquote, forcing them to watch drag performers.
Oh my God! Wow.
I I got into a little battle with this person. And it's like, are you just mad that pedophilia is not going to be accepted in the LGBTQ? Is that why you're so heavily focused on the children? Like, why are you so heavily focused on that? You ever think that maybe like it's hot outside and they just don't want to fucking be outside? Like, it's insane. It's insane. It's just insane.
Mm. Right, right. So actually, okay. I just want to bring back Steve's comment because this kind of touches on like what I'm struggling with right now, and I think any organizers who try to put on some kind of protest or rallies really struggle with this. Okay, so you heard about Idaho, right?
Yep.
They yeah. So yeah, it could have turned very ugly, and unfortunately, especially this year, I think any pride events that's happening in any cities are target of these attacks.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say that, I don't want to like really breathe fear in people's mind, but let's face it, we are under attack, and I personally would not be surprised, if anything at all happened to any of the events, that's happening in around the nation. So here's the thing: as we are planning this event in LA, yeah, security concerns have been voiced, and for the right reasons. So, we are nervous about it, and we are talking about it. How should we like ensure, what can be done to ensure safety of people, right? So one of the things that I struggle with, um, especially if you are trying to do a march which occupies like public streets, usually the permit is required. If it's like any other rallies, like, okay, if you're having like a rally in a public square, I actually, to be honest with you, I actually don't care about permit. I never got permit for that. But like, for instance, like March for Medicare for All last year in San Francisco, which I co-organized, um, because it involves public streets, you really do need permit. And usually, I don't know if it's every city, but like I would say like, yeah, probably all cities. If you are talking about permit, you are talking to police. That's kind of inevitable. So and even if, okay, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about other things, but okay, so this past week on Friday there was a People's Summit in LA. That was like a summit that was organized by the leftist organizations, primarily, including my group, to as a protest to Biden's Summit of Americas. So on the last day, on Friday, we marched. I think I would say like few hundred people showed up and marched to the LA Convention Center to show our show our displeasure that, like, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba were not invited, and how dare Biden call that the Summit of Americas, excluding these countries. So, but anyway, so the organizers submitted a permit, or permit application, and the permit wasn't granted. They denied the permit for us to march. So we marched without the permit. Naturally, police show up, but they kind of stand on the sidelines. And I feel that that's kind of inevitable because, they show up, right? Regardless of like whether you work with them or not. So, I think the distinction is, if you just like, I don't know, invite them over, which we won't, because as Noah said, historically speaking, they weren't, they are not our friends either. So,
Honestly, it scared my kid away. Like my kid
yeah.
really cried because like the whole idea of cops being there scared the fuck out of her. And I was like, well, on one hand, I was like, I'm proud of you that you're kind of adopting this ideology, but like, and the breath, like, no kid should even feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know like what to say. Like, I like the idea of having our own pride. That's not corporate sponsored. But I mean, I mean, I will be real. Like the protection thing is an issue because given what happened in Idaho, like
mm,
for some reason, I don't really think it's gonna happen too much in a blue state as much as it would happen in a red state. I mean, I really
mm,
hate to say that, but and I'm not saying that violence doesn't happen in blue states because it does happen in blue states. But I mean, I think you see more of that extreme hate more so in the red states.
mm,
Um, that's kind of where I explain Idaho. And I mean, to be fair, Idaho is a really garbage state anyway, because I think they also made a bill to where it was illegal for trans youth to not only transition, but to actually change their birth certificate. And if they tried to do it outside of Idaho,
mm.
they would get in trouble with a felony.
Wow.
So I think where the hate goes is where the bills are enact. I mean, I hate the
Mm,
fact that it's even a red or blue issue, to be honest. But I mean, when it comes to hate, I think the level and the degrees of hate happen in different areas. So,
mm,
like I said, where the bills are, where they've been enacted, that's where the hate is. Hate still exists wherever you
mm.
go, but
Right.
yeah, I think it's just depending. Like, if hate's really been supported in legislation, that's where you're probably going to see it the most, like enacted
Mm,
in real time. You're
mhm,
not going to
mhm,
really see it when there's not really anything active in real time. Because when you actually have the bill that's in place, you're basically essentially giving that person permission to be hateful. It's like, okay, they're supporting the hate rhetoric, so let's go bring the violence in. But when you don't, people are a little bit more quieter about it. That's just my
mhm,
opinion.
mhm. Right,
And always
right.
feel free to, but I mean, that's just kind of what I notice is like when the hate is actively supported and it's being reinforced, that's where you're going to often see it. But I think I would even argue,
Mm,
even as the LGBTQ community, we need to all just learn how to defend ourselves because we got to like face facts. Nobody's really protecting us right now. Our government's not protecting us
mm,
now. Cops sure the fuck aren't going to protect us. So who is there really that's going to be there to protect us? Yeah, we may have allies, but at the end of the
mm,
day, I think we need to learn how to protect ourselves. We need to learn to not be afraid and use our voice and not be afraid to take action.
mm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, so throughout this, over I would say like 3 years of anti-Asian violence, that's been a conversation that our community is having, right? So yeah, I mean, we do need to protect ourselves, and a lot of my peers, for instance, in LA, I mean, they do community patrol, in Koreatown, like, well, in LA, and I know people do that in San Francisco as well. So, and also, there are a lot of like self defense classes that are like community sponsored, to teach people like how to protect themselves, and kind of sad to that we had to come to that, but it's necessary, and it's actually like, okay, so what's the alternative? I mean, we don't really want more police,
Mm-mm.
yeah, because like for instance, increasing police presence in Asian communities like Chinatown, Koreatown, whatsoever, uh won't protect us. It won't lead to decrease in crime. It actually will probably increase the arrests of members of our community, because that's historically what happens to
Yeah, cops have their quotas. So, I mean, they got to do what they got to do to meet their quotas.
right, right. Yeah. Oh, so Steve, I just wanted to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I won't push you, but okay. So I wanted to be clear. Actually, the committee consists of we are opening doors to allies as well. So that's why I invited you. So yeah, I mean, so again, like I'm not really pushing you, but if you are inclined, to be part of it, we have open door policy. You don't have to be the member of the LGBTQIA plus community. So, um, okay, Brandy. Right, right.
I totally agree with her
Mm,
on it really does depend on the regions of the state. I mean, with
mm,
California, like, I mean, you and I both know that there's only literally like two areas that are genuinely LGBTQ friendly, which is LA and San Francisco. The rest
mm,
of
mm.
California is not.
Right, right. Yeah. And something really scary is happening. I'm kind of, this is off topic, but Shasta County, it's like up north, right?
Yep, it's up north.
Yeah, okay. Shasta County, I read the news that like right wing um, organizations or right wing groups are organizing big time so that they can prop up, a lot of like political candidates. And their plan is to take over their local government. And that's actually happening right now. So it's like some scary shit like that.
I'm not even
Um,
surprised, to be honest. Everybody up there is pretty much like it's Trump country if we really want to go there. Like, it's really extreme country. Um,
mm,
I remember working in Placer County, and I know that's not too far away from Shasta County. Like, they will give you like weird looks.
mm, mm,
I can't even like even at this new place that I'm gonna be working at. Like, I can't even tell them that I'm trans, to be honest,
mm.
because
Oh,
it's that.
wow.
Like, I know during the 2020 election, they blocked a lot of traffic.
Mm, mm. God, wow.
Which is very frustrating. They would just sit there, block the freeway, and it's like, okay, there's no need to go and show off the fact that you have small dick syndrome, but you're doing it. Like, go away. It's still happening even in Sacramento. Like, I will see people like with the Trump flags. They'll stand out in
Mm,
bridges, thinking that people are going to support them. Like, so, like that right wing extremism that's occurring everywhere up here,
mm, mm, mm,
and it is frightening. It is very frightening,
mhm,
and I think honestly because I wanted to go back to a point you mentioned about like not wanting to scare anybody. I mean, honestly, I would actually argue fear is an excellent motivator to actually keep going and keep pushing.
mhm,
Yeah, we're going to experience these fears. Like, it's perfectly valid to experience a fear, but in the same breath, do we want to constantly always be in fear?
no.
Like, what stopping people from not trying to make this better so we don't have to live in fear? At some point,
Mm,
I'm just gonna have to ask, when is it going to be enough? Like, what is it going to take for somebody to say enough is enough? We're not taking this shit anymore. I feel
right,
fear is a way to just intimidate us and get us to stop. So, like,
right.
how do we counteract this? That would be my question.
Mm, mm. I guess I don't know. Okay, so my take on it is like again, it's we have to organize, right? We have to stand together, because so we talked about this, you know, like what you slash we are building, with Tran Collaborative, um, the live stream network slash, you know, uh, what's to be an organization in the future, is it will focus on like transgender issues, but we talked about, we can't do it alone.
Right.
If trans community just by ourselves try to do this, it'll fail, right? I mean, we need allies. We need people who are in other communities, who may be working in other issues, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and come support us, and we stand together and fight for the same, you know uh, for trans rights too, but for different things like healthcare, right? Because it's a trans issue as well. Poverty, again, it's trans issue as well. Job equality, it's a trans issue as well, but it's issue for everyone. So we fight together.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah.
That's essentially what I am trying to promote with my network. Like, yeah, it's completely trans led, but like, I definitely invite other members of the community to be a part of it.
Mm,
Because right
mm,
now, like I said, our communities are broken. And until we can really fix that, I mean, really just spewing noise isn't going to do shit. We need to organize and get together, fix whatever needs to be fixed, even if we have to put shit to the side temporarily to do it,
mm, mm,
then we'll do it. We need more allies. I mean, it's getting to the point now, like what I've seen with the trans community is like it's getting hard for us to really like trust anyone anymore
mm,
because we've heard the same damn thing over and over. We're going to stand with you. We're going to fight with you. And it's like, then you actually see later on that they're not really fucking doing that shit.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. So that reminds me of actually, okay, so the MLK Day back in January in LA. So again, okay, so MLK parade in LA over the years became um not so much like corporate, not so much as corporations, but it had been taken over by um God, well, okay. So one is like there's a huge there has been huge police presence at MLK parade in LA. So naturally, like a lot of leftist people, a lot of people that we know, I mean I know, did not like that. So we had an alternative MLK Day parade this year in LA, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really naturally like heavily read by black organizations, like African American organizations. And actually what they told us, as allies, was that okay, if you are sponsoring or if you are endorsing the event, you have to pledge that you are going to stick with us and you are going to take actions with us, throughout the year. You can't just like put your name on it and that's what it and that's it. Because that's a lot of times that's what happens in activism circle too. And
Mm-hmm.
and after the event, I remember like receiving this email that, yeah, thank you for endorsing, thank you for sponsoring, but we actually hold you accountable for continuing to take actions with us, take stand with us. And um it was to be honest, it was like very very strong message, and I took it to heart, as an ally uh, of African American community. And that's what we actually kind of have to do too, you know, as a trans community, as LGBTQIA plus community. That like, yeah, okay, thank you so much for coming forward and sponsoring or endorsing, amplifying this event, but we will hold you accountable for sticking with us and taking actions with us, and opposing, for instance, all these hundreds of anti-LGBTQIA plus legislations coming out of states.
Honestly, and that's what's missing in our country. Everybody seems to think that holding somebody accountable is not okay. It's coming off as attacking them. Like, no, accountability needs to be expressed. You need to hold somebody accountable. Otherwise, how is anybody going to actually learn?
Mm-hmm.
How will anybody learn if nobody's held accountable to their actions? It's
Right.
okay to hold accountability. And I honestly think that actually needs to happen. We all need to sit there, and if we're going to ask people to help sponsor us, especially when it comes to Trans Collaborative, I'm actually going to actually use that policy where it's like, if you are pledging to stand with us and supporting our network, we need to see you demonstrating action that you're actually going to be with us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
nobody attacking nobody, it's just holding accountability. If you're saying one thing, we're expecting that we're going to hold you to account if you don't follow through with that.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like that with politics now. All the performative tweeting that's going on. You're saying,
Mhm.
like, let me just go. I don't want to bring politics too much into it, but like, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up this argument. The whole thing with force the vote. What was the reason why that AOC and all them did not want to force the vote? Because they thought, okay, well, we could probably get something better by asking for a minimum wage. Well, that came up and they tried to do it and didn't work.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
time that we were trying to hold them account, you would hear people's like, "You're being so mean to them. Why are you being such a bully?" No, we're just holding them accountable for their actions. They said that this was the reason, and we're holding them to an account. Like, how is this attacking anybody?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, especially okay. Again, you said like you don't want to bring politics into this, but yeah, I mean, okay. Again, if you are talking about especially politicians, though, that's their
Yeah,
job. I mean, we have to hold them accountable. That's ridiculous. Like, okay, so I mean, I hear that kind of argument like time and again, like all the time. Actually, that like okay, so somebody I won't disclose who that was, but somebody who was very very close to me, who is very close to me, actually said, when I was getting ready to protest in front of Nancy Pelosi's house, he said, well, you must have a compassion for Nancy too, because Nancy is a human being too. And I was like, well, Nancy, frankly, do not have a compassion for us. She has not demonstrated compassion for ordinary folks like us. And
thank you.
and also, she is a politician.
Exactly.
That's her job, to work for the people. I mean, so why can I not? Why can I not um hold for hold her for hold her accountable? I mean,
I Yeah, like with politicians, like for sure we need to hold accountability. I mean, they expect us to vote for these people, and like, I mean, I haven't voted, for any Democrats or any Republicans, but I mean, it's just like still, it's the principle. Like, we elect these people to come in there and do their jobs, which, by the way, they only work like what, like once or twice a year, and it's like, you're supposed to work for us. Like, it shouldn't even be our jobs to be out in the streets protesting this shit. You should already be doing this. Like, these are no
mm,
brainer answers. We're holding you
right.
to an account. Like, you said that you were going to go do this, and okay, why the fuck aren't you doing it now?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
We're holding account to what you promised. You're not doing shit. I saw I actually saw a tweet from AOC, and she basically was saying that, yeah, we're basically they were off, and she was saying, well, we're on Instagram, spreading awareness, and I'm like thinking to myself, I was like, so is this your idea of effective change, going on social media and basically talking a whole bunch of nonsense?
mm-hmm,
If you're really for effective change, that means going back to the damn desk, trying to work out a
mm-hmm,
solution, even a
mm-hmm,
compromise, just something. I would take somebody seriously if they did that. Going on social media just to spread awareness, and especially if you have that power to make a change, that's where
mm-hmm,
I'm going to get
mm-hmm,
pissed. Spreading awareness, like with what we're doing, that's completely different. Like, we don't have like that position of power to really do anything right now. We're just a network. But
right,
people
right.
see Nancy Pelosi, they have that power.
Mm-hmm,
They have
mm-hmm,
no business going on social media trying to spread awareness, whatever it is.
mm-hmm,
Mostly it's performance awareness, but you're going to your comment about like showing Nancy Pelosi compassion. Honestly, like, I agree with you. Like, she's done nothing to actually demonstrate any compassion towards us. So like, why should we actually show compassion to her? Honestly, I this is where I'm actually going to bring this in. I want to be like the French. I want to get a whole thing of horse shit and actually like put it on the ground. Like, I'm dead
yeah.
serious. Like, I think we need to be at that point. Like, that really would say something. It would make a statement.
Mm-hmm,
I know
mm-hmm,
it's funny, but I mean, like, we really should be at that point. Politicians have now pretty much openly admitted this in 2020. Like, I mean, 2020 was the year when the mask came off, right? where they basically openly admitted that they were just garbage. Like, come
Yeah.
on. That's not compassion. They basically go on the thing. It's like, oh, we know best. You guys don't know shit. Like, you can't hold us accountable, because if you hold us accountable, then I guess you're a misogynist or you're a sexist, like, or whatever kind of garbage label they'll put on you for doing it.
Right, right. So, okay, here's a disclosure because so I have many different kinds of friends, and some of my friends are, very much with the corporate Democrat, and we, when we have a conversation, there are certain things that we disagree, and like, really gets on my nerves. One of which is like, they always try to tell me, when I complain about Nancy, when I complain about the squad, whatnot. This particular person, especially, she always tells me that, oh, but you have to be, strategic. You have to like work through the ranks. So in order to do that, you have to play politics. Well, it's not actually the time to talk about this because, okay, people are dying, people are dying, frankly. And I mean, so like, let's just talk about all these like anti-trans legislations, that are coming up through the states. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there are more than like 300 of them now, right?
Yep.
And it's still like half, it's like we are in June. So we have like a 6 months left and we are already up to 300. Okay? I mean, how can politicians, you know, e- especially Democrats, because like, Biden, for instance, he actually, like, he's, one of his like campaign promises, or campaign one of his views that he highlighted, during his campaign, was that he is friends with trans people, friends of trans people, and he advocates for trans rights. Well, why are you not doing anything about it then? you know um and I know, like, the excuses that they make, that, since it's coming up through states, federally, they can't really do anything about it. Well, I mean, there are many of you who are elected officials, through the states. You are actually, as a representative, you are voted, by your constituents in each state. I mean, why can't you do why can't you be at least vocal about protecting trans rights, which we are not hearing much, frankly.
It's more so the fact there's like, oh, we stand with you, and they think that's enough. And I don't know if you heard about this or not, but there was a governor in Louisiana. There was a anti-trans bill that passed, and it was by a Democrat. He actually did not veto the bill or more or less stop it. He let it go through. This is a Democrat. This is not a
Mm,
Republican. I want to make that clear just in case you get any shit libs that watch the show. It was a Democrat. Stop
right.
acting like Republicans are the problem. Democrats are the problem. I mean,
Mm,
I'm going to go back to this for a moment. Like, okay, what was funny during the first day of Pride Month for me is when they decided to release the Nancy Reagan stamp. I'm sorry. I still can't get over that bullshit. Like, how fucking dare you do that
yeah.
the first day of Pride Month, and then have the nerve, not much later, talk about, oh, we really stand with the LGBTQ. We're going to celebrate
Mm,
Pride Month this month. What the fuck?
yeah. That was an insult to our community. That was a violence against our community. Yeah.
Totally. Like, I mean, it shouldn't. They claim that they did it because of her fight with war on drugs. And it's just like, okay, first of all, they shouldn't even release a stamp of her in the first place. But like, for me,
Mm,
I would have felt better if they would have just released it the next month instead of
yeah.
Pride, because it,
Agree. Yep.
like, yeah, because I think by having them do that, that really just exposed that they're fucking garbage people and they shouldn't be taken seriously. If anybody is very aware about LGBTQ history, just so we can give people a reminder, The Reagan
mm, mm.
administration treated the gay community like they were a fucking joke. They treated the AIDS epidemic like it was a goddamn joke. And I am sorry I'm cussing about it, but this shit just really pisses me off.
Yeah, yeah. No, it should. It should piss you off. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's just like you guys are sitting there really celebrating this shit. That is
Mm,
slap in the face to us.
yeah, yeah.
Why doing with trans rights? Like basically, it really pisses me off when I go online and people are like, when he makes a statement towards like the trans community or any other members of the LGBTQ, people are sitting there celebrating. It's like, ooh, he actually said something. Okay, what the fuck is he doing about it though?
Right. Yeah,
Is he
yeah.
actually stepping
Exactly.
to do anything? We live
Mm,
such a performative culture now that they think just simply just having these back and forth spats is actually making effective change.
mm-hmm,
No,
mm-hmm.
that's not what a
Or tweeting about it.
yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. Um, what was I thinking? Like I was like something was going through my mind, but yeah. Okay. So yeah. That this is like what I was gonna say. So that actually the fact that Joe Biden had to announce that like Nancy Reagan's stamp on June 1st, the first day of the Pride Month. That actually kind of and later saying that, oh, we are all for LGBTQIA community, we celebrate Pride Month. I think that's a demonstration of like what the Pride Month has become. I mean,
yes,
the Pride Month itself unfortunately has become performative. You know,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, that's the sad state of affairs. It actually does not mean much anymore. I hate to say that. I hate to say that, but it really doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Because it's something. It's first of all, it's an opportunity for corporations to come up with rainbow merchandise and make some money for themselves and pretend like they are our friends so that we can get some gay dollars.
Mm-hmm.
um Second of all, it's politicians, it's opportunities for politicians to again pretend to perform as if they are for LGBTQ QIA plus rights, which they really aren't you know
Another thing I noticed that I've seen being reinforced is that entitlement. That entitlement is what's causing division in the LGBTQ. Like, I remember watching, like, I do not watch Bill Maher anymore, but like, I'm going to bring back a skit that he was talking about, basically suggesting that trans people really just need to shut the fuck up and we need to pay more attention to the gay community.
Hmm. Wow.
So,
Sorry, it shouldn't laugh, but kind of makes me laugh. Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
and
Hmm.
he was actually boosting a well known transphobe, too,
Hmm. Hmm.
making the
Wow.
argument that being trans is a trend as
Hmm.
well. Like, that's not helping us either.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Right.
it's just a sad state of society that we live in. We live in a very performative one. I honestly blame 2016 for that because the moment you allow celebrities to hold any power other than what their own, this is what you get. You get a society that's full of performative politics, and it's
Hmm.
fucking killing people.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right.
A PSA: stop electing celebrities. I know that there was actually what was it? They were talking about Matthew McConaughey running for a position of power. I'm
Oh
like, no,
God.
no, no,
Sorry.
not put him in
No.
power. Do not give him any power. This is essentially going to wipe us all out if you continue to do this shit. No, enough.
Yeah, God, yeah, yeah. It's always a sort of this difficult conversation about like career politicians versus non-career politicians, and then
Mhm.
you get all these like celebrities or businessmen. I'm talking about you, Howard Schultz. Who does not think that they can be they can run this country, which no, you can't. But anyway, yeah, yeah. So we are coming up to the hour, but I just wanted to say, just as a personal statement though, for me over the years being an activist, what I learned about building solidarity, building power together. I mean, I think the name of the game is showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are our allies, you have to show up, and we show up for you too. So that's like what we have to build. Having said that, from my personal experience, sometimes it's very difficult because showing up for everything is impossible. Like for instance, like every protest, every event, no, you can't do that because like you are a mental health professional. Mental taking care of yourself is very very important, as an activist, so that you can so that you won't like burn out, because this is a long game we are playing. Some of the causes takes you a lifetime or more, like anti-nuclear. I don't think I will see abolishment of nuclear weapons in my lifetime. Uh, I wish we were, but no, we won't. So yeah, we are playing a long game, so we have to be sustainable, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and also like trans communities, a lot of us really are suffering a lot. Poverty, housing, lack of healthcare. I mean, it's just really overwhelming. Ever since I came out a year ago, or actually more than year and a half ago, and as I learned about this community, like how much suffering there is just overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So some of us may not physically able to show up because some of us are busy surviving, and
Mm-hmm.
that's happening like in other communities as well. So I think that's why though I think it's important for many of us together, for us to come together and um build solidarity and build united front, because it's like this, like sometimes you can't show up, Noah, because you're taking care of yourself, but I will show up for you, instead of you. And sometimes I can't show up and you will show up, you
Mm-hmm.
know for me. So yeah, that's, I think, that's really necessary to just, for us to show up for each other.
100%. If there was a emoji, I would do it right now because that's exactly correct. We experience so much burnout so quick. I mean, I know at least for me, from what I've noticed from other trans activists, is that they get so burnt out because they're so tired of not being heard. You got
Mm-hmm.
to understand, like you were saying to your point, like it's going to take a long time.
Yep.
That's why it's important that we all unite together and have each other's backs. We can't
Mm-hmm.
do this alone. We need all of you.
Right.
We are
Mm-hmm.
suffering right now. Most of us don't have health care. We can't even, some of us can't even transition.
Right.
They don't have any
Mm-hmm.
health care. Some trans youth are actually getting kicked out of their homes because they're not accepted and they're not
Mm-hmm.
getting the local support either. They don't even have access to the fundamental things that they need to survive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I always encourage and emphasize self care is important because you
Yep.
can be there for anybody else if you can't take care of yourself. Plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple. If you need to take a step back, that is totally okay. You have a whole team full of people that are going to take care of you if
Mm-hmm.
you're not
Mm-hmm.
able.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah, essentially that's what we are trying to build here and Tron Collaborative. And just want to say like thank you, everyone who tuned in tonight, because the way I see it, you are actually okay. So you may not be a part of LGBTQIA plus community, but you are actually part of community with us, because you show up, you listen to us, and you demonstrate, your willingness to listen to us and learn, and exchange ideas. So I really appreciate you, whoever showed up tonight, except for one person who was kind of shitting on us in the comments, but I kind of
I
conveniently
saw that.
ignored him.
I saw it.
I know who that is, but anyway, I'm not gonna even like say his name. But yeah, we appreciate you guys, and so message to you, lot of people who are here are activists as well. Healthcare justice activists, housing activists. So let's build power together because I'm there with you. Yeah, I will work um, tirelessly to get healthcare for everyone, because if we get healthcare for all, that includes us, transgender people, and other members of the LGBTQIA plus community. So, yeah, thank you so much. Any last word, Noah?
I was gonna say, just stay safe out there. I know everything has been really dangerous as of late, especially with the mass shootings that have been going on. So just please stay safe. Don't be afraid to defend yourselves. Just do not be afraid to use your voice. Please humble yourselves. Be open to listening. Don't buy into the garbage stigmas and talking points that are out there. Acknowledge us as unique and keep fighting. Just don't ever stop. Whatever hate comes your way, use that as a motivation to continue to fight harder. Don't let it discourage you. Do not let it stop you. In fact, I always use the phrase, hear me roar.
Hmm.
Do that.
Hmm. Thank you,
Do whatever
Noah.
it takes to get.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you're
great.
welcome.
Hear me roar. I like that. Yeah. I like that. Hear me roar. Yeah, I'm gonna use that from now on. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, Brandy, thank you. I love you too, and I love all of you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And now I'm going to play our outro if I can find it. There you go.